Good morning. Antisocial behaviour is an issue that affects many communities in Northern Ireland. We, the pupils of St William's College Lurgan, have been investigating antisocial behaviour in the Lurgan area.
Over the past year, the underpass on the Portadown Road in Lurgan has been a hotspot for underage drinking and antisocial behaviour in our town.
Also known as the subway, many young people congregate here in this area every weekend.
This has had a major impact on the lives of local residents who have had to endure high levels of noise, litter and on occasions verbal abuse. We asked local Sinn Féin councillor Keith Hawkian for his views.
First question to your concerns. The subway in Lurgan, how bad has antisocial behaviour been in this area recently?
Thanks for having me and thanks for your question, Ben. I suppose, like yourself, we've been listening to it in the media, hearing stories locally. It is pretty bad. It tends to be, as you would expect, focused more at the weekends. So you'll have Friday night, Saturday night, different numbers, but at its worst there's maybe been 150 upwards of young people drinking, taking drugs, and some maybe doing neither, just hanging out. But it's become quite a serious issue in the local area.
What work has your party been doing to help wipe out the antisocial behaviour?
It's a good question. We've been working with all the different, what they call statutory bodies. And what that means is you have council, you have the PSNA, you have social workers, and you have what's called detached youth workers. And what that means is detached youth workers are people who are employed by the education board who fund your school, and they're supposed to actually go out and speak to some of the young people who are involved in what we call antisocial behaviour. The idea behind it is that if you're involved in that sort of activity at the weekend, you're not likely to turn into school on Monday, or you maybe not be feeling the best on Monday, maybe Tuesday or maybe Wednesday. So as a party, what we've done is we've set up meetings locally. So we'll speak to the police about enforcement around drugs and alcohol and making sure there's no off licences selling alcohol to people that they shouldn't. But we'll also meet with detached youth workers, the education board, council, different groups like that to see if there's any other things that can be done, because what we in Sinn Féin do not want is young people actually getting a criminal record and ending up in trouble. If we can avoid that, that's what our aim is to do, because we're not living in some sort of ideal world where we think young people are not going to do it, because if older people like myself were willing to be a wee bit more honest, the likelihood is we would all admit to doing things that could have been classed as antisocial behaviour in the past. So I suppose it's about learning those lessons and speaking to statutory bodies, like I explained, and also trying to get speaking to young people and explain to them about the implications of their actions. So overall, what we're trying to do is avoid people ending up in police stations and their mummies and daddies getting phoned. But limited success at the minute. We're trying our best.
What plans are in place to prevent any more antisocial behaviour at the subway?
Well, again, good question. I suppose I've probably answered some of that in the second question. We've already asked the different bodies and the different agencies what their plans are for actually tackling this issue. And I suppose one that I did forget to mention was actually St Ronan's, the school. With the three schools being amalgamated, there's a huge increase in the amount of students. So there's a lot more talk, obviously, where are you going at the weekend, where am I going at the weekend, and so there's a lot bigger pool of young people that we need to get that message across to, and it can be more difficult to actually identify who's involved in it. So the plans are to just keep on with the meetings with all the bodies that we think have responsibility for it, but at the same time I think we're always open to new ideas and new ways. And I was talking to your teacher earlier and I was saying, well, over the moon to actually have the opportunity to come and speak to the likes of yourself, Ben. I think it needs to be done on a more regular basis, where people like myself, even though I'm not necessarily part of the solution, where people like myself, you know, who can go back and talk to members of the community and explain that it's not just all bad people, that we can sort of continue to work with schools like St Ronan's and get opportunities where the police and the social service and education department can come in and explain to people who would normally be involved in that.
We asked pupils from St Ronan's College about their views on the issue and how the problem could be solved. Here are some responses.
How do you think antisocial behaviour could be solved in our area?
I think that antisocial behaviour could be solved if there was more after-school activities and youth clubs.
How do you think antisocial behaviour could be solved in our area?
I think people need to be taught about the impact of antisocial behaviour.
It is clear that the local councillors, youth workers and the PSNI have been working hard to minimise antisocial behaviour in our town. We hope that the solution will be reached soon. Thank you for listening.